Rehearsing a fantastic lineup of music to present for you tonight. First, I would like to thank our principal, Evan Burton, and our assistant principal, Monica Notestein, for their continued support of our band program here at Northside. I would also like to thank John Weaver and his custodial crew for helping us with the setup of our concert. And I would like to thank our teachers, especially our gym teachers, for accommodating our rehearsals in the gym today. One more note I would like to say, you may have seen over here, we talk about support for the arts and support here with our principal and assistant principal and administration. We are on the horizon of, or the cusp of, a brand new makeover for the school. You probably have heard that. Today was the groundbreaking ceremony. We had our superintendent here, it was fantastic. And those are some renderings of our new band area that we'll have, which is going to be a complete interior redo. It's going to be fantastic. And then also a performing arts / multi-use area, which if you know where the pool is Thank you. Our first piece tonight is Falcon Fanfare, composed by Brian Balmages, and depicts the flight of a lone falcon soaring above a mountain ridge and canyon. As is typical with the fanfare, this piece opens with a bold statement by the brass section, with woodwinds joining in with faster notes to add velocity to the piece. The center section of the fanfare is softer and more majestic, but leads to a climactic moment as the falcon emerges over a cliff to a wide open sky. Woodwinds are taxed heavily in both stamina and technique in this piece, as the key change propels us to an explosive ending. We hope you enjoy Brian Balmages' Falcon Fanfare. Is an original composition by John O'Reilly, and it is a march. Typical march tempo is 120 beats per minute, but this march is set as a slow march at tempo 104. The composer introduces and then weaves together 3 melodies over the course of the entire piece. As is typical with any march, there are sharp contrasts in loud and soft dynamic levels. In most of the music we play for the winds, the fastest notes they play are eighth notes. But an interesting feature of this piece is that every section is playing a melody that includes 16th notes, the next fastest measure up from the eighth notes. Basically, this means that what students typically play is in this piece moving twice as fast, so it gives everyone a chance to show off the progress they have made on the technical side of their music skills. We present for you March Zuma. Our next piece is composed by Rob Grice, a very popular composer for middle school bands. It opens with a strong unison statement from the full band with a hint of the main melody played by the French horns and saxophones. You'll hear some less common percussion instruments such as brake drums in this piece, and their brash, articulate sound stands in contrast to the center section of this piece, a woodwind ballad that features smooth and calm flute and oboe playing. The piece drives to a strong finish led by the percussion section and low brass. We hope you enjoy Rob Grice's Pinnacle. This next piece by Robert Sheldon contrasts with the other music tonight because it is written in 3/4 time, so 3 beats per measure instead of the more common 4 beats per measure. This is also a piece that we couldn't play just a few weeks ago, not because we didn't have the talent, but because we didn't have the right instrumentation. You'll notice tonight that we've added new instruments to our band. I'll ask these students to stand: Adve on tuba, Callie on tuba, Mills on the bari sax, and Rowan on the bass clarinet. They are joining with Lexi, who play bass clarinet, to round out our low wind section. Let's give them a big hand. This piece begins with a ton of energy, and the triple meter theme time signature keeps that flowing from start to finish. Please enjoy Open Road. So I try not to ramble on. And the next line on my script, it just says, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our 8th grade band members, ... That's because I could fill a book. And I've known these students for, some of them for 3 years, since I saw them as elementary school students in 6th grade. And then I got to see them, obviously, 7th graders, and now maturing as 8th graders. And our 8th grade band this year is a little bit on the small side. Is the favorite composer of our students, Randall Standridge. The composer's notes for this piece let us know that it is about simply enjoying the good days that life brings us and letting go of the bad ones. The tempo is marked at 154, very fast, and over the course of several weeks of rehearsals, our band has achieved that tempo goal. The melody in this piece is catchy. It is one that I often find myself humming as I leave after school each day. In the percussion section, you'll hear the jazzy sound of a hi-hat cymbals played by our snare drummers, and this leads into a short but aggressive percussion feature. That energy keeps building to drive us to a powerful ending in Blue Sky Horizon.